Welcome to Get It Done Entrepreneurs, where we talk with founders of companies who bet on themselves and won. My name is Rich LeBrun, and I am the founder and CEO of LeBrun Advisory Group. You can find us at rlebrun.com. Our mission is to help our clients build wealth through business ownership. Stick around to the end of the show and we'll reveal how you can be our next guest. Our special guest today is Brian Feroldi. He is the founder of Long-Term Mindset. And I didn't plan this, but this is going to be a perfect timing podcast for where we are in the market. So it's going to be, listen closely to what Brian has to say. Brian is a financial educator, YouTuber, and author. He has been intensely interested in money, personal finance, and investing ever since he graduated from college. Brian started investing in 2004. In the beginning, he had no idea what he was doing, and as he said, he got his teeth kicked in. His returns improved dramatically, and his experience and knowledge about the stock market grew. Brian's career mission statement is to demystify the stock market. He loves to help other people do better with their investment. He has written over 3,000 articles on stocks, investing, and personal finance for the Motley Fool. In 2002, Brian's best-selling book, Why Does the Stock Market Go Up?, was published. It was written to explain how the stock market works in plain English. Brian lives in New England with his wife and 3 kids. With that said, Brian, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rich, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm really looking forward to this. I really am. And I love getting a chance to meet people. We're really grateful that you're willing to take your time and energy to share your wisdom with our listeners. But we always like to hear your story. That's how we like to start the program here. Everybody becomes a founder and they have their own unique journey, and I'm sure you have one as well. So tell us, how and when did this whole idea of becoming an entrepreneur really kick in?
Sure. Well, like many things in my career, in my life, it was kind of like an accident that turned into something I took more seriously. So I graduated from college in 2004. No idea what I wanted to do. I had a general business degree, but I had no direction or passion or interest in life. I was lucky enough to get to join a medical device startup. So the company was purely running on venture capital at the time, thanks to a connection with a family friend. That proved to be a fantastic first job, because when you work for a very small venture-backed company, you get to see a company grow, like hyper grow early on, but being part of a small company affords you a lot of opportunities that you can't get when you're working for a big company. So I did that job for 10 years, eventually transitioned to sales. So I was a salesman for them. 10 years later, our company became publicly traded, and last I checked, it was worth about $15 billion. So sheer luck on my part that I got on a rocket ship early.
It's all because of your effort, right?
Absolutely. It was 100% me. Yeah. But about 10 years ago, our management team was completely fired. Everybody on our management team was let go, and a new management team was brought in, and they had this intense period where they put us through that was sink or swim. And I sank, and I was let go. So I've actually, when I look back on my career, I've been fired many times, which is kind of funny to say, which I think is the universe's way of saying you have to work for yourself.
I think so.
But that afforded me the gusto to go after what I really wanted to do. I became really passionate about investing, learning about the stock market. So I did get a job as a writer for the Motley Fool. I loved every minute of it. And then when the pandemic hit, I started to take social media more seriously, because I signed a book deal. You mentioned the book; it came out in 2022. Well, if you have a book, you have to put just as much effort into marketing the book as you do writing the book. So I started to put a lot of effort into social media and growing my social presence. And it was only after launching the book and after I built an audience did I discover that once you have those things, you can actually build a business on top of them. So I built the audience with no plan of monetization other than launching a book. And then it was kind of the more I learned about social media and digital marketing that I discovered that you could actually build a business. So that's how my current business was started.
That's fascinating. But there's a big jump here. You went from a medical device company to there's three increments to being passionate about stocks and investing. So I'm curious about that transition.
Sure.
Ultimately, just get a job writing for the Motley Fool, which is a
Yep.
well-known investing firm or market investing company. So how did those transitions leap
Yep.
from one to the other?
So when I got this job at this medical device company, I picked up my dad actually gave me a copy of this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, when I
Yep.
graduated from college. I devoured that book, devoured it. It was the first time that I'd ever heard money concepts like the rich buy assets and avoid liabilities. Your home isn't an asset. The rich use the tax code and corporations to shield themselves. You can build wealth in one generation. Like those concepts, as simple as they sound, were brand new to me. And I just
Mhm.
developed an extreme interest with building wealth. And through a series of discovery, I found that the stock market was the best vehicle for matching my personality with how to build wealth. So while I worked for this medical device company for 10 years, I was in sales for 8 years. And being in sales, I was in my car for 30 plus hours per week. I used every bit of that time to devour investing books, to read about Warren Buffett and Peter Lynch, to listen to conference calls, to connect with other investors and talk to them. So I gave myself an investing MBA in my car.
I love it. I love it. I mean, and it's so available to do today,
It's
right?
free.
It's free,
Yep.
right? All these people are willing to share their wisdom, intelligence, and you devour that.
Naval has this great quote about that. He says, free education is abundant. It's all over the internet. It's the desire to learn that's scarce.
That is beautiful. I'm glad it's on tape here. It's like I can remember that. That's awesome. Okay, so that was a nice success story. Seemed nice and smooth without any bumps in the road, just kind of just happened and life got better. Maybe it worked that way for you. Generally, most founders, there's a few curveballs thrown at them. Any for you that came along the way?
Did I not mention that I got fired? I mean, I thought I was going to be in the medical device industry for my career. I thought that was going to be my career. Looking back, I am so thankful that I was fired from that job, and it was actually a set of circumstances where the new management team came in, they upped our quotas, and that exact same time period, my number one and my number two customers went on maternity leave. So,
Okay.
so it was pure circumstance that my quota was increased and my ability to hit it was diminished. So that's why I was let go. And I was like, thank God that happened, because if I was able to stay with that, I would not be living the life I am today. And I can guarantee my happiness would be so much lower than it is. But making a transition from one industry to another, my personal income got went down by 2/3. Right. So
Yeah.
that's not fun. That's not a great conversation with the wife when you have 3 small kids. And by the way, you're now making 60% less than you were the month previously. So to look back and say, oh, it sounds great, it must have been smooth sailing. Absolutely not.
Um, so when you went to the Motley Fool, were you an entrepreneur for them and a 1099 person
Yeah,
on your own or
freelancer. Yep.
freelancer?
Yep.
Okay.
I haven't been an employee in over 10 years.
Okay. Okay. How'd you land the Motley Fool? That's a big deal.
Oh yeah, very hard to get a job there. They have a lower acceptance rate than Harvard, essentially. So when I was working at the medical device company, I was spending a tremendous amount of my free time on the Motley Fool's discussion boards. I was a paying customer of theirs, and they have this community where you can post information about investments. And I spent a tremendous amount of time on there posting content for free. I actually drove down and went to conferences that they held, so I got to meet a lot of their people in person. So I was networking my way into the Motley Fool because I was passionate about what they were doing. I didn't think that I was going to get a job in there, but when the axe came down and I was fired, I actually leveraged the relationships that I'd been building for years to say, please take a chance on me, and they did.
That's amazing. I mean, what a career shift too. I mean, it was a build up, right? You're that guy, closet investor in their car for 30 hours a week,
Yeah.
learning all this. Now you're becoming an expert in that space. Okay, so when you left, did you start Long-Term Mindset? Was that your freelancing name? Is that what you?
No, I was just freelancing on my own name, Brian Feroldi. Long-term mindset, the company that I founded. I found that about 3 years ago with two actually fellow Motley Fool writers. That I met both of them through the Motley Fool. They're both actually named Brian, so the three of us are Brian, Brian, and Brian, as it would be. But we are all passionate about investing. We are all individual stock investors ourselves. We were all writers for the Motley Fool, and all three of us decided to start a company that specifically focuses on teaching individual investors how to find, read, and analyze companies.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. Now, it seems like some of this was happenstance, out of your control. You get fired. Your biggest clients, had maternity leave. All those type of things were outside your control, and you adapted and adjusted. But you also made some good decisions too that were maybe more forward thinking. Can you think of anything, one or two things that you really thought you did well that really kind of put you in this position where you are today?
Absolutely. I spent my free time developing my skills and learning about something. I did not spend my free time binge watching Netflix, or, I would talk to other salespeople that was in the same company with me. We were in the car for 30 plus hours a week, and I'd be like, what do you do with the time that you're in the car? And they would say they listen to Howard Stern. And
Yeah.
I'd be like, so you are rotting your brain while you're in your car 30 hours a week, and I am giving myself an education 30 hours a week. So I would say the best thing that I did along the way was use my free time, the free time that I had, to educate myself.
Yeah. I always thought, someone would either listen on the radio or a podcast or even watch a Shark Tank, episode, sincerely watch it as an investor,
Yeah,
or
great show.
the profit. You could give yourself an MBA in business. You really could. There's so much expertise out there. But like you said in that quote, it's the people who desire to do that. It's far and few between. All right, Brian, let's take this little commercial break. So tell us about your book. Tell us about who your customer is so our listeners can see if they would be someone that would be, a customer for you, and anything else you would like to promote. This is your time.
Sure. So if you want to talk about my book in particular, I myself have read hundreds of investing books by Peter Lynch, Warren Buffett, the Gardner brothers. I've devoured so many investing books. Many of them say the same thing. They say the stock market is the greatest wealth creation machine ever invented. I agree. The stock market returns about 10% per year. And whenever the stock market falls, it always comes back up. That's what many of those books said. And that is true. But for me personally, when I was reading that, the thing that I wanted to know was, well, why does that happen? Why does the stock market go up 10% per year? What is the thing that causes that to happen? And why, when the stock market crashes, has it always recovered? What is the thing that causes the recovery to happen? And I never found any book that explained why that happens. The books were always just assume that happens and will continue to happen. So I actually did the research and discovered that answer for myself. And when I learned it, I had my confidence level in investing in the stock market skyrocketed. And when I learned that, I was like, why isn't there a book that explains the why behind the stock market going up and the why behind the stock market recoveries? To me, that is like unbelievably useful information that anybody that has money in the market should know, including everybody with a 401k. If you have a 401k, you're betting your retirement on the market going up. And I think it's pretty important to know why that's a good bet. So my book is written for complete beginners, people that have never studied the stock market at all. And it goes in very simple terms and explains what the stock market is, how it works, why it goes up, and why you should have faith that will continue to go up. The actual mechanics of the things that cause that to happen.
Just let me interject. Because the average person always hears, stock markets. How do you time catching the falling knife?
Yep,
right?
Correct.
And that's always a fear-driven. It's like, how lucky do I feel, right? Close my eyes and reach out and catch the knife.
Yep.
I love what you did. I'm going to get your book and read it because that's the foundation that I think I could see it building confidence. So I'm
Yep.
definitely excited about reading it.
And it's
Very good.
it's written at the 5th grade reading level. So I've had parents that have given it to kids to read, and it's a fast read. So it was designed to be the book about the stock market for people that don't like reading and don't like finance.
Perfect. Okay, so now let's talk about your company and your customers and how do you work with them?
Sure. So the company that I started is called Long-Term Mindset. We are a financial education company. We create digital products and services that target individual investors, people that want to buy, own, and research individual stocks, and we teach them how to do that. So we have a series of ebooks, of digital courses, and a portfolio service where people find us on social media through fill in the platform. We're pretty much on every single platform. So we create content that attracts individual investors, those that engage with that content. We try to get into our ecosystem. So we provide them with a lot of free education resources upfront, visuals that explain the stock market or accounting or valuation, things like that. And then those that want to take the next step with us, we do offer a series of courses that teach people how to find, read, and analyze financial statements, or how valuation works. And so that's the crux of the business. It's focused on educating individual investors.
Okay, so you're not a trading firm that's going to coach them on the investment.
Nope.
Right?
Nope.
Do you have software in that mix for people to invest from? A lot of people sell that.
We do not. No, that might be something that we develop in time, but we actually have a partnership with a company called FinChat.io. And they're a sponsor of ours. And when I look at that software, I personally think I can't make anything better than that. So so why bother competing in a market where this company is so far ahead?
Very good. So really your customer is really anybody who's interested in learning how to be an investor in the market.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. And it's a fee-based service. I'm sure you pay for the courses or education just
Yep,
like
the
any other
courses are
education.
one-time payments. But we also have my business partner Brian Stoffel. He's been investing for over 15 years, and we have a service where you can follow exactly what he's doing. So when he buys and sells, he will let you know. And as part of that, we actually provide weekly education series where for 1 hour every week we dive deep into some aspect of investing. For example, we could be like, today we're going to talk about what the PE ratio is and how it works. Next week, we're going to be talking about how to read and analyze an income statement. The week after that, we're going to talk about what are the different competitive advantages and how to tell if a company has one. So it's 1 hour per week. It's an educational series that takes place over the course of a year, and it's really ongoing. But the goal is to watch him manage his portfolio, and we teach you how to think like him over time.
Okay, perfect. What a great find to find you, by the way. I hope our audience feels the same way. I think it's very much needed for people to get started. It's very confusing out there, and people want to sell you all sorts of softwares that guarantee you do this. And I bought a couple, and then I look at them, I go, I have no idea what to do with this stuff. It's like, really? That was like a waste of money. But because I'm missing the why. I'm missing the why. So I really appreciate what you're doing. Okay, so I'm not going to pick your brain too much, because this is really how I treat all my podcast guests. We want to talk about the future. Okay, you're a founder of a company, CEO. You have to navigate the future, the headwinds, not just the market. We just went through this whole political arena. We got wars in other countries. We got a lot of stuff going on that affects leadership of companies, and market is one of those. So give us an idea how you see, let's say, the next 12, 24 months, not just in stock investing, but just as a founder of a company.
So our company is very small. We have three partners, and we have a slew of of 1099s and freelancers that work for us. But we are a relatively small company. Because of that, I don't think that the macro environment really impacts us that much. Yes, the stock market going down or a severe bear market might impact the motions of the people that we're trying to help and our potential customers. But I am personally of the mindset that we are small enough and our opportunities are big enough that we should be able to grow if we execute well in any market environment. If we were the size of, say, Coca-Cola or Walmart, then the actual macro really impacts what results you have. But when you're tiny, like we are, we should be able to find and attract new customers in any market environment.
Okay, so you can adapt, adjust, finesse the market a lot easier because you're a very nimble company.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
There's nothing preventing us from doubling revenue next year. If we don't double revenue, it is 100% our fault and not the macro's fault at all.
I love it. I love it. You're a little short on enthusiasm, Brian. I just want to let you know that.
Sorry.
No, I'm just giving you a hard time. You're very passionate about what you do, and it comes across really. I appreciate that, and I can see why. Okay, but you're also a dad, a husband, and you got 3 kids. You got to go back to reality. You got to wake up on Monday morning. You got to lead the charge, build that energy that you have built up already. What kind of things do you do to manage yourself? Do you use mentors? You work out a lot, eat healthy, spiritual guy, all those things? What do you do to keep yourself on target?
So I listen to a lot of podcasts. That's the medium that I personally look to for inspiration. One of my favorite things to do is just throw my headphones on, listen to podcasts of channels that I like or people that I admire, interviews of people that I like, and then just do work around the house. I love doing yard work with my headphones on, or cleaning my house, or going on walks. That's where I personally get a lot of inspiration time from. But I especially love it when you can combine physical labor where my body is active, but my mind is free to roam with a podcast. That's how I personally learn best. I think that I'm learning and working out my body at the same time.
So I'm going to use the word mentors kind of lightly because I can see the podcast people are mentors too, indirectly. Right?
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, exactly right. And educators and mentors in their own right. But do you use actually a personal mentor? Do you have somebody that you turn to, or you just pretty much lean on the educational approach through podcasting, et cetera?
Yeah, so I've built up a network of other creators like me that I do reach out to and talk to hear best practices and think about what they're doing. And we do actually one creator that we are friends with that's particularly huge with tens of millions of followers. We do interact with her on an annual basis, and she does give us kind of like high level guidance and things like that. But overall, on a day to day basis, we make decisions based on what we think is best for the company. So it's not necessarily that we have a direct mentor guiding us.
Okay. So one tip for our listeners, let's assume that they're all the beginners. Okay. Other than your book, which definitely going to point them towards that. One podcast, one group of people, Motley Fool, I mean, it's okay if it's a little self-serving, but where would you point them to start listening to?
Well, if you're a podcast fan, one podcast that not many people know about that I personally have saved and listened to multiple times is Naval's podcast. It's just the Naval, his podcast. He was the one that authored that quote that I had before. He has a wonderful podcast episode just called How to Get Rich every episode. And it is the series of principles, importantly, principles that he personally believes in to use to build wealth over time. And I don't see how anybody could listen to that and not come out the other end inspired.
Yeah. Well, Brian, I got to tell you, this has been very exciting. I do want to ask you this question. Maybe I'm putting you on your spot. If you don't want to answer, it's okay. Is the market is saying that they're very optimistic today?
Mm-hmm.
So remember, half my owners are entrepreneurs thinking about wanting to get into business. The other half are entrepreneurs already and thinking they want to maybe grow and expand. If we look just at the markets, I know there's other people say that it's not going to last long, but nonetheless, the market is saying that they're excited about the immediate future, would say that. Do you feel the same excitement?
I never have a strong opinion one way or the other about what's going to happen next in the market. And there's a funny quote about that, which I'm going to butcher, but it's that pundits offer their opinion about not the market, not because they know what's going to happen, but because they're asked. That's the only reason that people put out prognostications about what they think is going to happen in the market. They're asked their opinion on it. If you were to ask me what's going to happen next, my answer will always be the same. It's going to go up. And 2/3 of the time, I will be right, and 1/3 of the time, I will be wrong. But you need to structure your finances so that you will thrive no matter which way the market is headed.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer. It's a good way to end this thing. Business owners, I always tell my business owners, if you look at any long-term business owner, they've gone through multiple markets. And they can guarantee one thing: the market's going to go up and the market's going to go down, and employment's going to be high and employment's going to be low, and labor shortage is going to be here, and supply chain issues are always going to be around here. So if you're an entrepreneur, you just got to know that that's the world you're jumping into.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you want to set yourself up both personally and professionally to thrive in all market conditions, and that means being able to not only survive but thrive in a downturn. A downturn is guaranteed to come, and a downturn is guaranteed to hit your business at some point. And if you can't, the whole trick to business is being able to survive and thrive in that period.
Yeah, very good. Well, thank you for your time. How can people get a hold of you, should they want to, and how can they find your book if they want to look for it?
But it's on Amazon. You search my name, Brian Feroldi, and if you like the kind of content that we make, just search for my name, Brian Feroldi, Feroldi, on whatever platform of your choice: YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. We produce content everywhere.
Okay, and if they want to get involved and sign up for educational, they go to what, longtermmindset.com or something?
.co. We didn't get the .com. .co. Yeah.
.co. Yeah, very good. Well, thank you for your time. I'm always grateful that you take time out of your busy day to share your wisdom with our listeners. And with that, we will publish all this information on the podcast. It'll be in all the notes. It'll be on all the podcast platforms probably within the next 2 weeks. And Brian, again, thank you for your time, and I wish you very much success.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here, Rich.
Rich LeBrun here. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast, Get It Done, Entrepreneurs. If you are a successful business owner who would like to be on this program, please visit us at rlebrun.com/podcast and fill out the form, and we will reach out to you. If you got something out of this interview, would you share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on the socials. If you know someone that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show. Include the hashtag #GetItDoneEntrepreneurs. I love seeing your posts and guest suggestions. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, go ahead and subscribe. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show and mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more? Go to our website, rlebrun.com, or follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time.